Well, percenters, welcome back. Coach Tommy, Jimmy High Roller. There was a guy on TikTok said he was the best shooter in the world. I went down a little rabbit hole, and what do you know? Jimmy High Roller already made a video on him, so let's watch it real quick and see what I think.
Far from it. Most days, I'd say I probably... You know, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. In fact, far from it. Most days, I'd say I probably fall somewhere between competent and incoherent.
Ooh, and you're smart. The more you know, the actually less you know. People who don't know much think they know everything. Me? Ooh, I got a lot to learn.
But despite my painfully average intelligence, I am still smart enough to know at least one thing is for certain. I am not better at basketball than an NBA player. Any of them. Literally nothing I can do with the basketball in my hands is up to par with a single player in the NBA. But this isn't breaking news. By now, we all know this.
I do not agree.
Except
most people think the best basketball players are in the NBA. They are probably not. There are psychopaths on the park, guys that never made it into the league, guys that are in the Philippines and Serbia. Wherever they are, for one reason or another, they were not found. They could not handle the pressures of the NBA. They could not handle the scheduling, the politics. But the best basketball players, I guarantee you, are not in the NBA. There's a few players out there that are literally just destroying everybody. There's a lot of great players that aren't in the NBA. And this guy, if it's going to be a particular skill set, like this guy's going to be a shooter, he definitely can be a very specific skill better than NBA player. If you look up who has the world record for a free throw makes, it's not going to be Steph Curry. It's going to be some super old guy at a YMCA or something like that. This guy, let's see if he's that dude.
this guy. This is Anthony Mira.
Like, there's people with way better handles than Kyrie Irving, Bone Collector, Global Professor, the Professor, guys like this, like guys that are on the extremes that don't have to put up with the pressures of an NBA contract, media, all this scrutiny, all this stuff. Just hooper.
Cola, and he claims to be the best shooter in the entire world. And it's a self-proclaimed title that he has earned by breaking several basketball shooting world records. Anthony's good, really good. But to find out,
let's look at the form.
The harrowing truth that
he leans over a little bit to the right side, so it's a lot of just in the arms, everything down the right side. So if I did like a DEXA scan on a body, I guarantee you the right side of his body is a lot stronger than his left side.
He's not better than an NBA player. He got invited onto national
and if he's doing stationary shots, if he's always practicing in the same location, he's not under the same scrutiny, the pressure of 10,000, 20,000, a million people watching him all the time. So new environment in this court, he might actually crack because it's pressure of TV, pressure of Kenny, two Hall of Famers.
Television to have a shootout against an NBA player. The outcome of this shootout,
is he gonna shoot against Kenny?
You could imagine.
Oh, I might have to take this off.
He's gonna shoot against Kenny.
You're the greatest pure shooter of all time, just straight shooting.
Yes.
Ever. Yes?
Yes.
You gotta have the confidence if you're gonna claim it, man. Does he routinely practice with pressure? I mean, Kenny the Jet Smith, he's on TV all the time. He won a championship. He's played in the league. I don't know how many pressure-filled moments he's been in.
Today's video is sponsored by DraftKings.
Pressure will crack
down,
so many players.
The field is heating up, placing a $5. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers who use promo in 2000.
If you play golf, there's this thing called the yips. It's just like you can putt, and then all of a sudden you can't putt. It's like the pressure, you're nervous, your hands shake. I routinely ask players, go make any shot on the court, or go make a free throw for $1. They make it. Go do it for $10. I bet you $10, and then 20, 100. At some point, they crack when that number gets high enough. When it's $1,000, they miss it, they lose $1,000, and sure enough, they always crack.
In 2018, Devin Booker set a three-point contest record with a score of 28 in the final round of the contest, taking home the trophy with his name forever etched into NBA history. A performance where he hit 80% of his shots, only missing 5 out of 25. Under this format, where the highest score possible is
trash, cash, and splash, under 60, average, 60 to 80, good, 80 and above, great, trash, cash, splash.
34, Booker put on a three-point clinic that even shooters like Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson couldn't keep up with. And 4 years later, he still holds this incredible three-point shooting record. Until the greatest shooter alive, Anthony Miracola, broke it in 2022.
Anthony
With a
Miracola.
score of 31. At last year's three-point open high-stakes contest in Pennsylvania, Anthony put on one of
Wait, high stakes contest.
the most absurd displays of shooting you'll ever see, winning the contest and taking home a $100,000 cash prize. Look at this. The man
Who is he competing against? Just average Joes like me?
doesn't miss. I mean, Anthony did have an extra 10 seconds compared to the NBA contestants.
That's what I'm saying. There's a little more time, a little more speed. What pressures are you under? There's general training and specific training. Sounds like he's very, very specific.
And he was
in
shooting from the
training.
college three-point line, which is 2 feet closer. And he had 9 warm-up shots before beginning this record-breaking round. And, well, of course, this performance didn't take place in an NBA three-point contest. But a record is a record. And as the world's best shooter, Anthony's got a lot of them. Over the last decade, Anthony has been slowly taking down nearly every basketball shooting record available.
I saw it
And
'cause his
possibly some that are
kid-
not.
his
Most
kid hit like
three-pointers
30
made
in a row or
minute,
something.
31.
Okay, feet out, weight.
Most three-pointers
Mostly over
made
the right
in
leg.
3 minutes. 93. Most free throws made in 1. Most three-pointers made in a minute. 31. Most three-pointers made in 3 minutes. 93. Most free throws made in 1 minute. 67.
200 free throws in 3 minutes, 90 3-pointers in 3 minutes, 67. You have to shoot 67 shots in a minute and without missing. So he's shooting one ball per second. That's pretty quick. You have to load it. Somebody's got to give it to you. 90 in 1 minute, 31 3-pointers in 1 minute. Dang, I might have to try this. I'll probably get like 10.
That's more than a free throw made per second. I mean, most free throws made in 1 minute. 67.
12 3-pointers in 1 minute with a single ball. With a single ball, do you have a helper rebounding?
That's more than a free throw made per second. I mean, at a rate like that, you must have some crazy contraption helping you get the balls back or something.
Yeah, like this.
Most free throws
Even the
made
girls
in 3
feeding into him.
minutes. 201, beating the old record by a very modest 101. And he doesn't plan on stopping until every shooting record is his. His most recent world record on the books,
Everything-
most free throws made while
everything
standing
picked
on
up
one
off
leg.
the-
But with all of this fame and
the left
glory
side
as
of his
the world's
body.
greatest shooter comes a lot of challengers. People who doubt your claims, want to take your spot as the top dog, refute your records
Muscle
and
memory's
say,
crazy.
well, I mean, how many people have even attempted
Small,
shooting free
tiny
throws
dip
one
on the
leg?
right
But that's
side.
neither here nor there. And this hasn't stopped Anthony from taking down the competition and taking down records along the way. Until he showed up. Former NBA player and now NBA analyst, Kenny Smith. See, back in the 90s, Kenny Smith was one of the NBA's premier sharpshooters. And
They're
as
just
one of
gonna
the best
heckle him and
among
he's
the
gonna
best,
lose.
There is a massive void between him and some regular Joe when it comes to shooting a basketball. And throughout the years, Kenny has challenged other former NBA players to a three-point shootout to test their skills and win bragging rights on live national television. No warm-ups, no do-overs.
If Kenny has the balls to challenge everybody on live television, boy, has got some
He
crazy
went toe-to-toe
confidence.
with, at the time, the greatest shooter of all
And he's got to be very, very well adapted to the pressure.
time, Reggie Miller, and was one shot away from beating him. He challenged former NBA sharpshooter
Wait,
G.
he
Miller
lost to Reggie?
and was one shot away from beating him. He
he
challenged
lost to
former
Reggie.
NBA sharpshooter Danny Ainge to a three-point shootout and walked him like a dog while clearing the last rack and staring him down as the last ball went through the net. He challenged former flamethrower Michael Redd at the ripe age of 49 and beat him as well. Kenny even went as far as challenging Jason Terry, one of the greatest long-range shooters ever, to a
Life
three-point
experience
shootout for the rights to the
49.
nickname The Jet. Does anyone want to take a wild guess at who won?
You better come back over here. You better come back over here. You better come back over here. and shoot again. Come back over here and shoot again. You better come back over here. I'm the Jet in here. What's my name?
This is what you love about basketball, man.
What's my name?
Or that's me.
Hey, Jet, another one I
Just
have.
run my mouth
What's my
when
name?
the guys aren't playing hard or not wanting to be pushed.
What's my name?
Just got to get under their skin, talk a little trash, get them riled up.
This is not a man you want to mess with. Because no matter how many years go by, no
He's
matter
always
how
the butt of the
knocked those knees
jokes.
get, once
Yeah.
an NBA player, always an NBA player.
Finely
And
tuned
Anthony
through those
Miracola
whack knees.
had to learn this the hard way.
April 28,
It's been a few
2019.
years since Anthony Miracola began his record-breaking mission. He's already a world record holder and the greatest shooter on the planet. So the
That is
crew
kid.
over at NBA on TNT with Shaq, Charles, Ernie, and Kenny invite him onto the show to do a segment talking about his success. The crew is excited to have him on and hear his story, but
They're freaking scamming this dude. They set this
5
dude
feet
up.
to his left. The crew is excited to have him on and hear his story. But lurking 5 feet to his left is Kenny Smith, who has identified his next victim. As a fun little gimmick, the crew has 10-year-old phenom Landon Spicer go toe-to-toe with Shaquille O'Neal in a free throw competition. The kid is a machine. He knocks down his shots. And to absolutely no one's surprise, Shaq does not. The kid is eating it up. He loves it.
Amazingly enough, you've beaten Shaq in a free throw contest. That's funny, Chuck.
But the real show is about to begin. Ernie proposes a shootout between the greatest shooter in the world versus 54-year-old Kenny the Real Jet Smith. Kenny couldn't
That boy wasn't ready. That boy wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to be challenged.
say yes
Put
fast
on the
enough.
spot.
He just watched this man set a world record and sink 31 three-pointers in a minute, and he's chomping at the bit to face him. Right from the jump, Anthony is getting put through the ringer, and he hasn't even taken a single shot. They ask him where he'd like to shoot from. He says the free throw line. They say they're not doing that.
It don't matter. You pick the spot. He the guest.
This right?
It don't matter. Oh, we don't. That's we're not.
Yeah, you pick the spot. And then as soon as he picks it, they're like, no.
Want to shoot right here?
Threes.
Right
From
here?
NBA threes.
Oh, it's our though, man.
He ain't
NBA
from
three-point line it is.
he ain't from
Anthony's
New
already feeling
York or wherever. Katie, they hustling him
Want to shoot right here?
Threes.
from right there. Free throws, and then moved to threes,
NBA threes.
and then it moved out to NBA range to make sure he's practicing at NBA range.
It's our though, man.
NBA three-point line it is.
He's talking about the height. The arc is not high enough. The specificity.
He's already feeling the pressure. The studio's court has a low roof line. It's gonna mess up his shot. He makes
It
a
is.
small remark about this, but the crew ain't going for it.
It's tough because of the art.
First
man.
one up.
So now he got to change. He's so dialed into what he's used to.
Yeah, we don't want to
I was shooting around. I almost hit the ceiling. a few
Wait,
times.
he's shooting the same jam you are.
Like a pack of hyenas, the crew is circling. Barkley's yelling at the poor guy. Shaq is right behind him, repeating everything Charles is saying. A 7-foot echoing
I wonder if this
monolith
dude even
just
played
menacingly
basketball.
standing there. And it's at this moment, Anthony begins to realize what he's gotten himself into. But being the gracious host that he is, Kenny allows Anthony to go first.
Yeah, first of
Okay.
three.
You going?
No, it's your welcome.
Just shoot.
Because if I make the first one, I won't put too much pressure on.
Okay.
All right, there you go. All right, there it is. See?
That's off by
If I
a
make
mile.
that first one.
It's a miss. We are one attempt
He shot
into
it-
this
he
competition.
shot it so
and Charles
flat.
Barkley has already seen enough. Anthony asks for the ball, and Charles just stares at him. Have you ever, in your life, seen someone so unamused? Meanwhile, Kenny Smith is taking off his jacket to prepare to lay that NBA caliber beatdown.
I'm going to take it off, Shaq.
Both of us ain't gonna
Actually,
lose
it's the
today.
shirt. Actually,
Oh,
it's the
no.
shirt. It's the shirt that's tight. Oh! It's the shirt that's tight, Ernie. You know what I'm saying, Ernie? You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is the shirt that's tight, Ernie.
The shot should look so much flatter than what he was shooting before.
First, it's the shirt that's tight. But it's the form that's never tight.
Gaga.
The form ain't never tight, Ernie. Turn ain't never tight.
The pressure.
In dress shoes and slacks, Kenny went into the shootout completely cold, but he's already heating up. And our friend Anthony is 0 for 2. Now, I want to take this moment to remind everyone out there about a quote a wise man once said: "I am closer to LeBron than you are to me." Famous words uttered by none other than Brian Scalabrine. For 11 seasons, Brian spent his time in the NBA as the league's resident scrub, averaged 3 points a game, didn't
I love Brian Scalabrine. The game. You have to be physical enough to get on the court. So I say mind, body, craft. You have to be big enough and athletic enough to get on the court. Right?
see the court on many nights. In fact, in
If you ain't 6'8", 6'9", you ain't even coming close.
2012, while LeBron was in his prime and nearly led the league in scoring, Brian was putting up a whopping 1 point per game.
Especially if it's one-on-one, especially if there's no referees.
About as far away from LeBron as a player in the NBA is going to get.
Oh,
and yet,
Lord.
despite this, Brian was acutely aware of the fact that even with this massive void, as an NBA player, he was still worlds closer to LeBron than we are to him. One of the worst, but still an NBA player. At the time of this shootout, Kenny Smith had been retired for over 2 decades. He spent his days in a chair talking about the game, not
Kenny
playing
still
it,
shoots
but
around
he is
with his
still
kids or
a
something
former
like that.
NBA player, and the gap between him and Anthony was insurmountable.
All right, there it is. See?
That's off by
I'll
a
make
mile.
that first one. Oh, I might have to take this off. I might have to take this off. I might have to take it off, Shaq.
I got it.
I might have to take it off, Shaq. Oh, I'm going to take it off, Shaq.
Both of us ain't gonna
Actually,
lose
it's the
today.
shirt. Actually, it's the shirt. It's the shirt that's tight. Oh! It's the shirt that's tight.
Did he only take 3 shots?
You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is the shirt that's tight, Ernie. It's the shirt that's tight. But it's the form that's never tight. The form ain't never tight, Ernie. Turn right now.
Katie's knees, man.
Let's go home. Let's go home.
That dude is probably so crushed, man.
What was supposed to be Anthony's time to show everyone what the best shooter in the world can do turned into 90 seconds of badgering, yelling, excuses, and 2 missed shots. The poor guy didn't even get a third one. Kenny went 3 for 3, and it was over. Where's that 20-foot assembly required shooting contraption when you need it? His moment came, and it went.
Oh,
Does their best to
no.
make Anthony feel better, but the damage is already done. This man holds 7 basketball shooting world records. In terms of us average Joes, he can shoot the rock better than just about anyone. He's hit 31 three-pointers in a single minute. He's made over 200 free throws in 3 minutes.
This is what I'm saying about specific training and variable training, general, or you have to, you can't attribute or you can't account for how much pressure or anxiety you feel when you're getting booed or when everyone's cheering or the bleachers are rumbling. Like, you mentally have to get to that spot to be able to perform under the lights, under the pressure, at the drop of a dime.
But on this day, Anthony finally learned the haunting truth that we all have to come to terms with eventually. He is still not better than an NBA player, even when they're 54, decades into retirement, and wearing a suit.
I wouldn't put it like that, but yes, it's the pressure. The pressure kills, man. Until next time, take 14 minutes, 24 seconds, or 1% of your day to get better. Peace.